It is my pleasure being here with you guys, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the food, and it's been an honor to host you guys and have you come back. We're going to talk a little bit about nutrition and where we are. I call it the healing from within. As you guys are nourishing your bodies, we forget. You know, we just eat and we've put the fuel, and today is Halloween. We all love our candies. Even though it's one day, how many started eating their candies October 1? So, you know, and then we blame the holidays. It's a holiday, not a holy month, but we have forgotten that one. So it's a power within. For my guys in the room, normally I always use the analogy of your car. You make sure your oil is changed, your tires rotated, you use the right gas. If you have a fancy schmancy one, I call it the designer gas, like my husband has to use. So their body's the same way. You're going to get out of it what you're going to put in it. There is no difference. We have to nourish it and heal it. Basic food group, your fruits and vegetables, your carbohydrates, your protein, your milk and dairy products, which include your cheese, your sour cream, your yogurts, your fats, and one of my favorites I always put in there, your other foods, which is your treats, your desserts, your dark chocolates, your vitamins, your supplements. So that's what we're going to talk about, pretty much what you've been eating all morning long, what you have on your plate. If you look at it, you have a little bit of everything. If you were good enough, you grab the salad. And if you decided not to go with it, that was your fruits and vegetables. And every one of these groups will play a role. And if you are going through a disease process, that even becomes more crucial. Because we got to make sure we get these nutrients to the body. So when we talk about fruits and vegetables, that's where you get all your antioxidants. That's where you get your vitamins. That's when you get your fiber. How many of you guys eat your apples or everything with your skin on? That's where the fiber is. You know, as long as we wash them thoroughly, we do them, that's where the fiber of the fruit is. And we want to make sure we do about 4 servings a day. Now I have some of my customers or clients, or when you see the patients, they love fruit. But again, if you are diabetic, if you are watching your blood sugar, if you're watching your weight, fruit still has calories. I had one, I love him to death every night. You know, he's like, I'm not losing weight, what's going on? So we drilled down, and he was eating a bowl of grapes and a block of cheese, and he thought he was really, really good. Well, again, they still have calories. So we want the serving and portion control. One of the things in this country we have completely gone away is the portions. If you ever get a chance to go antique shopping or go to your older hospice, ask them for a dinner plate. Back in the day, the size of the dinner plate is the current salad plate. I had a friend of mine who went to Pottery Barn, bought some plates. It wouldn't even fit in her kitchen cabinets because they were so large in the diameter. So portion control is the biggest issue. When we talk about fruit and a 4 serving, it's basically your hand. You don't need measuring cups, you don't need scale. Your hand is your best friend. And I'm talking about normal, not Shaquille O'Neal hands, but an average hand. When you look at it, when we say half a cup, what you can hold in your hand, about 15 grapes is what we consider serving. That's pretty much what you can hold in your hand. Half a banana, the gigantic bananas I have for you guys, that's 2 servings of fruit. So being aware of the portions of what we're eating is very crucial in the fruit ones. Carbohydrates, the enemy. How many following keto diet? Come on, we're amongst friends. How many went through the Atkins phase? Paleo, South Beach, cabbage soup. You know, we all have done these, and those are the top of my head ones. Carbs are not the enemy. Carbs became the enemy when we lost portion control. When we started going to Einstein Bagel, had a bagel that was 4 servings of carbs, then we stopped on our way at McDonald's and had a burger, and then we had pasta for dinner, and we blamed the carb. So we still need our carbohydrates are what fuels our body. That's what gives your energy for your nervous system, so your brain power, for your muscles. It's what source we use. So the most important thing is making sure we are consuming whole grain. And when I'm saying whole grain, is not when you buy a wheat bread and it's brown and you think, wow, I'm doing really good. Unfortunately, your food manufacturer can put molasses, make the same white bread look brown, and sell it to you as wheat bread. So that's why it is crucial to be the smart consumer Look for that verbiage that says whole or 100% whole wheat. More importantly, those little tiny ingredients that nobody wants to look at, make that a habit. Turn the package around. If it says corn syrup, if it says fructose, enriched white flours as a first ingredient, that's not what we want. We want to make sure it's a bread that is whole grain, least processed. Same thing with your pastas. We have come a long way. If you bought whole wheat pasta even as early as 2 years ago, visit it again. They have really perfected it. It cooks almost the same. The taste is the same. The texture is the same. There's some on the market with protein. That's what I buy at my house. There's a Barilla Protein Plus pasta. So when you go shopping, I always say kind of venture out. We are creatures of habit. If you notice you go grocery shopping, you go to the same aisle, you grab the same thing, and you always wonder, why am I eating the same thing over and over again? Take a little bit of time, once a month, once every other month, and look around. See if there's a new product that you want to try. How many of you guys have tried quinoa? When quinoa first got introduced in this country almost 8 years ago, nobody ever even heard about it. Now we have red quinoa, and we have mixed quinoa, and we have quinoa salad. So again, there are a lot of things that come on the market. Be open-minded about it and give it a try. And the serving, again, 3 to 5 servings. Once again, when we look at that gigantic bagel, what can fit in your hand, like a slice of bread, is constitute a serving. Half a cup of pasta or half a cup of rice, that's a serving. It's how you're portioning it and how much you're eating off of that. That makes a big difference. Then protein. We need them for our muscles, especially as we go through MS, their muscle weakness, muscle fatigue, all those things. When you're going through your therapy, you're trying to get that muscle strength. That's very crucial to have that protein in our body and making sure we're consuming them. A lot of time it's the hardest thing, especially for my female. They are not a fan of protein. We all love our starches. We all love our carbs. We don't get enough protein. That's normally what I hear. Being aware of how you can get it. As I mentioned, you can have your protein pasta. So you can get the protein as you're enjoying your pasta. So if you like your bread in the morning, adding some almond butter to it, some peanut butter to it. So you're adding that protein to that starch, basically. Combination. We always want lean protein, complex carbohydrates. We want to stay from the simple carbs or the sugars. As when it comes white and it gets processed, sugar, that's what we want to stay away from. So low-fat protein, complex carb. How many of you guys still drinking regular milk? Cow milk, as we call it. Okay. So again, if you're doing that, if you're not, making sure we're getting your soy milk, almond milk, cashew milk, coconut milk, sources of calcium. So one of the factors when you're going through the MS, how many of you guys had fell? Falling is one of the biggest adventures. I had a lot of my patients over the years have, protecting those bones, making sure, again, we are healing from within, giving them calcium, giving them the protein, to making sure we're protecting them. And again, protein is the same thing. 4 ounces each meal, size of your hand, thickness of a deck of card. So like a chicken breast, like a beef patty. I'll get to questions at the end. But that's what we want to make sure we have. How many of you guys like eggs? Greatest, cheapest source of protein. A lot of time I hear, well, it's so expensive to buy meat. How many of you guys get your Wednesday flyers? The one in the postbox still shows up? What's the first thing you do with it? Okay. So your first exercise, if you forget anything I say, next Wednesday when you get it, you're going to sit, you're going to go through. Because guess what? Salmon holds in your freezer perfectly fine. So look for those things. If chicken is on sale in place, if salmon is on sale, any of those things you can put them, portion and put them in your freezer. So, or get a rain check, give it a run out. But making sure we have all that protein to go. Dairy. I kind of started with it. How many of you guys have done Greek yogurt? I remember, I'm originally from Iran, if my accent didn't give it away already. But I remember when first Greek yogurt got introduced in this country, it was a big phenomenon. We grew up on Greek yogurt. That's the only kind of yogurt we have overseas. So everybody's like, oh, it's so thick. It's like paste. You can't. Again, you get used to it and finding the brand that you like. So if you're a Yoplait, stick with that brand. You're probably going to like it. If you're a Chobani, try that one. But giving it a try. And one of the biggest tricks I always share is a half and half trick. So if you're using regular yogurt, keep your regular yogurt, buy some Greek, mix it together until your taste buds, our taste bud takes about 6 weeks before they get used to anything. So give that chance. That's what happens a lot of time. People try something and they give up because they don't give it enough time. So give that a try, do the half and half, and you get there. Your cottage cheeses, any cheese, we have cheese on your sandwich, but incorporating about 2 to 3 servings a day with your dairy products. And dairy, if you're not a fan of it, how many of you guys make smoothies or shakes? So you can use that yogurt in your milk if you don't want to use the milk. So that's another way of incorporating the yogurt into your diet. Fats, another big factor. How many of you guys remember the Snack Well cookies, that they were fat-free and they were going to cure morbid obesity and everybody was going to be thin and no more weight problems? We saw how far that went. So the enemy, once again, is not the fat. It's making sure we are using our healthy fats, our olive oil, our canola oil, our safflower oil, staying away from fried food. I don't know how many of you guys went to the cafeteria today. Moderation is the key. I always talk about it. It's okay to have chicken wings once a week. It's what you do the other 6 days. So if you're having fried food as a treat, if you're doing something, making sure you count for that and managing it. But we need fat in our diet for anything from your hair, your skin, your hormones. We cannot do it without the fat, but it has to be the right source. How many of you guys have tried coconut oil? That's the one that's getting a lot of popularity. Unfortunately, I cannot stand coconut in any shape or form, but it is great for you. And I had a friend of mine who convinced me, said, just please try it. And again, I did my half and half trick. I took my olive oil and the coconut oil and kind of mixed it, and I could do it. So trying new things, looking in the market, seeing what's up and becoming. Remember, coconut oil didn't even exist about 3 years ago. Nobody even knew what it was. You had to go to like a specialty health store to find coconut milk. MCT oil, all of these things that are available now everywhere, is being open-minded and giving them a try. Other foods. I will be passing around. Some of you guys saw my dark chocolate as I was walking in. I will pass on and make sure everybody has a piece of dark chocolate. The saying is when you go to France or Europe, they don't have obesity problems. Everybody's thin, but they still have the best desserts in the world and the best chocolate. Once again, it's called portion control and the right kind of candy. Their candy is mainly dark chocolate, higher in cocoa, and less sugar. So that's what the difference, the product line of it is. And when we say dark chocolate is good for you, it's not the whole bag of the dark chocolate. It's one square, basically. It's the same thing with red wine. When red wine became popular, doesn't mean the whole bottle. It's a glass of red wine in moderation, discussing with your physician, your medication, and that's how you do it. So making sure we are treating, it's Halloween. How many of you guys trick-or-treat? Or have trick-or-treaters, I should say. So we have the candy in our house. No matter how much we try to give it away, we always kind of serve our favorites. My son always used to put those at the bottom of the bowl. So he would have them the next day himself. Again, moderation, share the wealth, portion it out. It's a treat. How many of you guys hear people say, oh my God, I was so bad last night? And you're like, what? Did you kill somebody? What did you do that was so? I had a piece of chocolate cake. You had a piece of chocolate cake. Enjoy it. So it's a lot of things that we have done over time to ourselves about this guilty, good food, bad food, cheated, I was bad. It's a treat. Look at it as a treat. I deserved it. I enjoyed every bit of it. Tomorrow is another day. I can walk at the end of the day. I can cut. Checkbook. Every one of us, I know we're all fancy now with our iPhones and all this stuff we do, but it's still, you manage a bank account. Somehow, some way, electronic. Same way. When you wake up in the morning, you guys always hear 1,500 calories, 1,800 calories, 2,000 calories. That's what you're starting with. So if I want to have a chocolate, if I'm going to a birthday party, I know I'm going to have cake and a nice food, then I do a smaller meal for breakfast. I manage my lunch. I leave room for those calories. Then I'm not cheating. I'm not being bad. I manage my day accordingly. And I nourish my body. See the difference? That mind switch is the main thing I want you guys to hopefully get out of this room and share with everybody else. Is looking at food truly as nourishing our body. what we're fueling it with. How many of you guys do supplements and vitamins? Do you guys make sure your doctors know what vitamins and supplements are you taking? Because we always kind of have a tendency, we don't think of those as medicine. And when you go to the doctor's office, they say, what medication are you on? So you tell them all your prescription medication that you pick up from pharmacy. Those supplements and herbal medications that your neighbor told you this one to take, your grandma said take that one, it's the flu season, this year elderberry is very popular, that's a new thing. The doctor needs to know. The interaction with some of those and your regular prescription medication can be really, really crucial. So whatever you're doing or you decide to take, always let your physician know. And sometimes what I run into is we accumulate. God bless my grandmother, they played cards. So she had this pill box. Oh yeah, this friend said take that one. Grandma, the fish oil and the omega-3 is the same exact thing you're taking. So, or Viactive, I remember, not Viagra, but Viactive when it first came out, I took some home for calcium. You need 1,200 milligrams of calcium a day to protect your bone. Well, she was taking those, and then she was still taking the calcium pill. So it's knowing what are you taking and what ingredients in all these supplements are, saving your money, and more importantly, saving the body. And the same thing goes with supplements. You know, a lot of us do protein powders. You know, whether it's a whey or whatever there is, making sure what else is in those products. Because sometimes a lot of them have other ingredients added to it. And where source comes from with it. And again, you want to make sure how many grams are you taking. If you're having underlying diseases, sometimes the kidney functions, other things, those herbals, those protein extras can impact. So if you're having a kidney issues and you're overloading on protein, you're putting more work on the kidney without even realizing. You're thinking you're doing something really good for the body. So making sure you're aware of all those things. So meal planning is very, very crucial. Especially one thing I always hear from my MS patient is, I'm tired. I don't have time for this. I don't want to go to the grocery store. I don't want to be bothered. How many of you guys use the apps now to order your grocery store for pickup? From Walmart to Publix, all of them. Get on there. It's a lifesaver, especially for you guys. Because, again, it's saving that energy, and you just say what you want. They pick it for you. You really roll your car, you park, they put it in your car, and you say goodbye. They have made it that easy. And if you don't like something, you get a rain check, they give you the product. So you can do the meal planning that way. Take a day. On a Saturday or Sunday, take an hour, depending on the size of your family and how much you need to make. You make your grocery list. Remember what we did on Wednesday? Look at the flyer, right? We looked at our flyer. We have our center of the plate. We know what we're making. We have our menu. Then we can start prepping. Cutting and prepping. Again, we have come a long way. If, you know, again, we're serving energy. You can pretty much buy all the pre-cut items now in your produce section, and they are not like they used to be. They used to be very expensive. They have come a long way. So if you don't feel like chopping onions or your carrots, whatever, go to the produce section. Every grocery store, they have a whole dedicated section now to pre-processed vegetables and everything you can do. How many of you guys look at recipe or share recipes? So being open to it. You know, again, we have all different websites or Google, whatever you use, looking at recipe, trying different things, incorporating different items. If you have your freezer stock up with a bag of green beans, a bag of corn, and some, you know, other favorite vegetable, and you have your center of plate already done, you got dinner in 30 minutes. It's not a miracle. It's not magic. It can be done. I know some of you guys watch the cooking channel and you go like, oh my gosh, she makes it so easy. There's no way. It's all about the planning and the process. So the center of the plate, which is your protein, is what takes the longest to cook. So if I look at my flyer, I'm going to use our salmon. $5.99. I bought, depending on my family, I have it ready to go. That salmon can become an oriental dish with some vegetables, some brown rice. The next night it can be with the pasta. The next night it can become with the salad. So my side is done. Same thing with chicken. You buy a chicken breast or chicken thigh, whichever you prefer. You cook that. That chicken can now become chicken parmesan, can become a Chinese food, can become barbecue chicken, can become pesto. So it's about not making it complicated. A center is done and you take it from there. How many of you have any picky eaters in your house? So, so dealing with picky eaters is the same thing. Making them feel they're in control. That's the first thing if you're dealing with the picky eater is you're going to pick up the recipe, you're going to pick up the menu, we're going to go shopping. Give them the ownership. So when it lands on the plate, they can't say, well, I didn't want this. You told me we're going to try it. And introducing things slowly to them. That's how you kind of capture a picky eater. I have a couple of my cousins in my lifetime I had to deal with. Sites for recipes, meal lime and Yumly. How many of you guys had breakfast before you got here this morning? Or how many of you guys eat breakfast normally? I know everybody's fasting. How many of you guys have been doing this intermittent fasting? It's the latest craze. So intermittent fasting, if you know what you're doing, it can work. I have nothing against intermittent fasting. But it's those people who don't eat the right food, the right combination, and then the intermittent fast, and that blood sugar goes to nothing, or they're taking medications and they're not aware of it, and then we blame the intermittent fasting. So making sure if you are doing all those things that you have all your ducks in a row. That if you're doing a 12-hour fast, it doesn't interfere with your med schedule, you're having your protein, you're having your complex carb, you're fueling the body to last you for that fasting period. And then, how many of you are exercising? So making sure we count you're fueling the body for that exercise. That's very crucial. When we talked at the beginning, I'm kind of doing a full circle at the end. That's very crucial that if you're exercising, you're having the right meals. Fresh vegetables, whole grain, starchy vegetable, lean protein, nuts and seeds. You know how many of you go to the Chinese restaurant, you get the cashew chicken, but you never do it at home? So incorporating on your salads, you can add your walnuts, your almonds. They're a great source of protein. So that's how you can incorporate it. Another, if you are trying to be more vegetarian, if you're trying to get away from animal products, I hear that a lot, using those sources.